Welcome to Panel Rai. For today's episode, I have invited somebody who sits in the intersection between delivery, sales, and marketing. Jana Kleschnik, Commercial Director at Bedford DACH and Netherlands. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Stepan. Great to be here today.
I am not sure if you were aware of that, but one of my first jobs was connected to the commercial department. I was a commercial analyst for one global freight companies. And at that point of time, my understanding was that the goal of the commercial department was to keep the company profitable and to achieve that by preventing sales reps giving discounts too early. Does that still hold today?
Yeah, that's funny. No, I need to say, unfortunately, that's not the only thing. So it's much more complex than that. There are so many things to consider. Yeah, too many complex items. You need to consider strategy, long-term decision making. It's not so quickly. It's not about discounts at all. Yeah.
Yes. So, looks like you are a good guest to discuss margin and commercial topics around EPM. So, happy to have you here, Jana. And let's dive deeper into this margin topic. From your experience, where does the margin eventually get lost? Is it during the discovery pricing discussions or eventually during the delivery?
Good question. I would say usually during the delivery, if things are not the way it should be done. So, I mean, in the end, to be honest, this shouldn't happen at all, let's say. So it's not a typical use case. But I would say in the end of the delivery or towards the end or in the middle of it, if it's not scoped correctly. So if the work is not well done from the beginning, from the start, if the project was, for example, underestimated or not well staffed, or then this could happen. Thankfully, it's not the usual case, so it shouldn't be the case because we want the customer to be happy, we want the delivery team to be sustainable, so it should be scoped properly and correctly. Yeah.
So, would you rate proper scoping as one of the top three factors influencing engagement profitability?
Yes, definitely. It's one of the factors that's important for sure. Then, of course, also prices of, and then demand and supply, obviously. So all these factors are counting in, and but that's one of the main goals. Or case by case, project by project, scoping is important.
And Jana, tell me, I can imagine you have your procedures, your processes, your guardrails related to how profitable an engagement should be, how to build a team so that it delivers sustainably, profitably, and both for you and for your client. But sometimes things happen, right? You have your end of the fiscal year, people get their compensation tied to bonuses. There are one or two deals can get lost in a short sequence, and then there might be some commercial pressure. So tell me, how often do you see pricing decisions being made under pressure rather than logic?
I try not to do that. So I think it's we don't need to apply the pressure. So even if it's, as you say, if we have a deadline like a quarter end, I don't prioritize my own goal over the customer goal. So it's more important this long-term relationship and the quality of the project. So and that needs to be done well. So I wouldn't do under pressure. Of course, we have a lot of pressure, but then we just need to spend the time, and it can be maybe an hour more or so to develop it, but it's important. Yeah.
Yeah, so would you describe your position as somebody who keeps the rational thinking amid all the pressure that is coming perhaps from the sales teams?
Yes, I think that's important. Yeah, we I think with time we learn to work under pressure, so there is constant time pressure, to be honest, and it will not work if we panic in that moment. We need to keep calm, and I try to do that. Meditation helps. So that's important, and then we still need to act fast. So I still need to be efficient and proficient, but also see early when we need help or when I need help, for example, from a specific use case expert or SME. Then I need to gather this help and not start to panic and decide in an emotional state. I wouldn't do that. I would always try to make important decisions rationally.
Absolutely. And I can imagine you were involved and responsible for dozens or hundreds of pricing discussions. And then, of course, yes, you have one budget version that is approved at the beginning, and then you see what are the actual numbers in terms of revenue profitability. Did you observe some pattern? What is the most dangerous assumption that people make during pricing of the projects?
Mm, yeah, I think typically what can happen is that when we do projects, where we scope projects, it can be underestimated because we look at some specific part of the item, or we focus on specific topics more, or we build a POC and we focus really on this case. And we don't look enough into, let's say, for example, data and how well is the data prepared in advance. And then surprises can come up during delivery. So I think it's important to see those type of flags and be cautious that there can be hidden risks and really deep dive into those. I think there, for me, it helps that I was part of delivery for several years. I have done implementations myself, so I had the experience and the pain of clearing out topics, and I know what is then later risk. So I really also consider those items, even if they look so easy in the beginning. I really ask the prospects what about their data, for example. Yeah.
And I think, yes, being involved in the past in the hands-on delivery of EPM models, I'm not sure if it was Anaplan or which technology
Mhm.
was, but it really helps, doesn't it? For you, these are not abstract solutions, but you were hands-on involved in delivery of these.
Yes, a lot. So it's the foundation, I am, to be honest. So it was Anaplan project. I was also already at Bedford Consulting. I started as model builder, solution architect, team lead. So I've done those projects. I know how long something needs to be built in many cases. Of course, I still would need some expertise if it's more specific on some new use cases, for example. But without having this experience, I don't even know how should I do a proposal. So it's really relevant. I need to know and to have a feeling what I think, how much effort something is, how the project needs to be done. So I think this experience is really critical. And all of the commercial directors in Bedford Consulting, we all have this background. So we know what we are doing, and the proposals we build and the project plans that we build have a foundation. So it's not just some commercial document, but it's really an indicative project plan already.
Yeah, that can really help, and I think everybody in the EPM space was at some point surprised by the state of data and how
Yes.
difficult it can be to make the data clean enough so that all the beautiful and advanced planning models can be built.
Mhm.
Um, Now, let's move on to the other topic. We have this project sold. It is properly priced. You have correctly flagged all your precautious metrics regarding the data readiness and everything. And now the delivery team takes over. And still, sometimes after the engagement is running for a couple of months, perhaps for a couple of years, if this is a more complex integrated business planning initiative, sometimes there comes this moment where sales and delivery have some tension between themselves. That the delivery team has the feeling that yes, sales oversold, and the sales team has the feeling that the delivery doesn't deliver enough, and there's this tension. Did you experience that as well?
Yes, and I think I experience it, to be honest, less than maybe others, because I was aware of this since the start. And what I do to prevent that is, first of all, bring delivery early on during the sales cycle already. I would always confirm it with the PS side. So I am, of course, the professional services director on one hand side, who's then responsible for it. But I will also advise with one solution architect who will be the one who is delivering the project, just to have their yes. So I just to have their buy-in. So they have seen it, they know what is there. And then yeah, first of all, I have of course also another approval. This is technically all fine. But also for them, then they feel prepared, they know what it's about. And later on, they will know, like they were involved in the scoping. So it shouldn't be too much of a discrepancy. And the second way to mitigate this risk is to keep in touch with the project team. Of course, I can't talk every day to every project team, but we have a relationship. We work closely together. We talk with each other. We know we have the same mutual goal. So I think this is important. Not to have sales and delivery too separate. It's not different worlds. We need to work together. Yeah.
Yes, and I can actually confirm that. It's a situation from a couple of weeks ago where we were discussing you need a potential extra capacity for one of the projects. And if I remember correctly, this was your client. And even though you could do the delivery team deal with all the staffing issues or with all the decisions, you are still involved, and you basically own the client relationships. You wanted to know who will be joining that project, and I was actually quite surprised that yes, you were staying very close to the delivery. So that is basically in reality what you were talking before, right?
Yes, exactly. And I think not everyone does that. I understand because sales and delivery is often seen separately. But for me and also most of my colleagues, the project and the delivery is so important. The customer is important. I want it to be successful. I will not disappear after the signature. I still check in with the customer. It's my relationship. Also, I feel very personally close to it, and thus I also care for the project team. They need to be healthy and and clear and work well. Yeah.
How about sales incentives? That's a huge topic, right? At the
Mhm.
one hand, every professional services company needs to sell their services in order to utilize their consultants, in order to keep moving, keep growing, keep a stable position on the market, or improve it. And at the same time, the sales incentives they come with a cost, and it's basically a cost that you need to keep paying so that sales keep happening, and it can either boost your growth and work in favor of your company, or it can destroy margin pretty quickly. So how do you approach sales incentives so that it supports your team and delivery rather than the opposite?
Mhm. Yeah. In this case, I think it needs to be fair, and we need the incentives for sure. So it is helping the whole company, and if there are incentives, people are just more eager to do it. But equally, it can't be too high because we need it has to come naturally as well. There is also an internal incentive to continue this as well. So I don't really see an issue with that topic. There's not too much problems or discussions. I think it's quite probably very similar to the rest in the whole industry, I can imagine. So yeah, it's
Looks
working
like
quite well, I think.
somebody designed a fair and sustainable system so that it's not a topic for you, but for many other companies, sales incentives is a very big topic which creates huge tensions. When there is a big new deal, who gets commission for that? There are some approaches with sales credits, and there are often
Mhm.
disputes who should be the person that is associated with this account, with this deal. But it looks like you have found a
Ah, okay.
system that works well for you, and everybody is informed. It is perceived as a transparent, so that's good for you.
Yeah, in this case, when we speak about who is the person who's responsible for that, for us it's the regional split. So it's quite clear. Like we have specific countries, the other commercial directors, and they are also the lead of the region. So it's very clear. I will not um, sell projects in the UK, but my colleagues have it. So, but we still help each other when we, yeah, I don't know, need an advice, for example. So we are supportive with one another. But there is not really a question of who, because usually it's clear with the region, I would say. Mhm.
Okay, that makes sense. And especially with the projects being more and more global, you don't have your national entities selling to your national clients only, right? You have
Yeah.
Bedford is an international
Yeah.
company. Your clients operate internationally, so having clear rules over the governance is really
Mhm.
important. Looks like you have found a way to operate in this. Uh,
Mhm.
Now, one of the topics we discussed quite frequently is staffing, and one of the reasons, as I understand, um, why we keep having these conversations is because the demand is very volatile. So the pipeline there's something happening in the pipeline, but you don't know the exact start date. You don't know how many consultants you will need. You don't know when you will need these consultants and with which expertise. And plus, on top of that, the projects sometimes get postponed. The start date moves by a few weeks or by quarter, and it's very hard to plan delivery capacities in such a volatile environment. Uh, is that something that you experience, or is that an actual topic for you as an EPM partner?
Yes, definitely. I think it's in every people business, to be honest, or every consultancy, and for us as well, for sure. I mean, we have 130 colleagues, so we have loads of ANA planners, but they are also specialized in specific topics, specific use cases, for example, or industries. Then they are also in different regions, and yeah, we have sometimes peak demand times or lower demand times. Thus, this is really an ongoing topic every day, I would say, because we need to allocate resources the best way to the customer to have a good match, to have a good team for who can really drive the value with for the customer, and not just pull in someone who's just available, but it needs to be, yeah, high quality. Therefore, it is a topic for sure. And we have one colleague, he's responsible for this resourcing, and that really helps because he can then help and coordinate between different teams, and we can always ask this one person, um, and really know who can we ask when we need a good person. We can define the role, what do I need, and then they can look into the specific in this region or maybe overall. Yeah, so it's a topic every day. Yeah.
Yes, and you mentioned with 100 plus consultants, you have crossed the threshold where no one office or no one partner can know it all, right? So you need somebody to coordinate cross regions, cross countries, cross practices. And
Mhm.
yes, I actually had a discussion with one partner recently who was
Mhm.
about your size, and they still did not have this position. And I advised them, perhaps, yes, you are no longer a practice of 30 to 30 people where you know everybody personally, where you know who is working on which projects, because yes, you are the only person that sells in the company, but yes, you have multiple directors, partners, sales directors selling. You have multiple teams located all around the globe. So perhaps you need somebody who, yes, coordinates all of that, ensures the information on availability, on capacity is updated. And if you manage to increase your utilization by 2, 3, 4% and reduce some bench time by a few days per consultant, then this person literally pays for itself, right? So I believe this is a yes. Of course, everybody wants to avoid overhead positions because this is not directly tied to generating revenue. But this is one of the few positions that I highly recommend for any EPM partner from a certain size. And on the example of your company, I see it actually works, and I see the benefits
Mhm.
which you described.
Yeah. And of course,
Um,
we didn't always have this person. When I started at Bedford, it was 5 years ago. I think we were around 30 people. So you surely knew everyone. And also now, in my case, I think it's a bit easier because I know a lot of people in the company personally since so much time has passed. So it's a bit easier to evaluate who can do what. But still, you don't know if the person is available. And I will not ask each person. For example, today I need a specific supply chain expert. I will not ping every supply chain expert, but I ask the resourcing manager who is available and has someone like 1 hour to spend time with me for one advice. That's just one random example. But yeah, it's also, yeah, it's quite good. And of course, you need it only from a specific size, I would say.
Yes,
Mhm.
having a single point of contact is really helpful, especially at your size. From
Mhm.
my experience, yes, 30 to 30 people, that's some size where the founder, the managing director, they can really have an overview of everything that is happening. They still have some, let's say, access capacity in their network, perhaps a former colleague, former consultant from another company that you can reach out to, and they might help you out if you need somebody urgently. But
Yeah.
beyond this 30 people, you need systems, you need partners who help you with your different needs, and it's impossible to plan everything in your head only. Otherwise, it becomes a mess very quickly. Um,
Mhm.
Now, moving on to the last section, I would like to discuss about AI, offshoring, and changing expectations.
Mhm.
Uh, and as you know, Anaplan is investing huge amounts of money into making the tool more AI native. So it was around $500 million, if I'm correct. Other EPM tools are doing the same, other leading vendors. And it sometimes comes with the expectation that, yes, from the client side, well, everybody is investing in the AI capabilities. So the project that initially took 6 months, we now expect that it is delivered in 2 months. And we pay a third of the price because it's the third the duration. Do you hear comments like that from your clients?
Yeah, not maybe not exactly directly like that, but it is an expectation for sure. Yeah. So customers are expecting AI and or even asking for offshoring, or some are asking please don't offshore. So, but it's very transparent what is possible nowadays, and also AI will improve more and more. So there will be more, yeah, change there and acceleration of the project. So definitely, and projects can become shorter. However, you can also do more in more time. So even if a project shortens, you can then continue and do the next case. So it really drives value for the client, and they must see the value. I wouldn't say it's as easy to say like 6 months become 2 months, but it depends always case by case, of course. However, it's a bit of, yeah, I would say a change of demand and also the focus. It's not only model building, like historically there was a lot of implementation focus, and now we speak about transformation. So we speak about consulting, helping the customers, creating value by knowledge and industry knowledge, also tool knowledge, because you also need to know, we need to know how to use the AI capabilities. We need to know how to use the new Anaplan features, which are really helpful, but we still need to be on track and know more than maybe historically. Yeah.
Mhm. Yes, and probably most of the listeners have witnessed some demo or some feature announcement about model building activities being accelerated rapidly. And from my understanding, it can be true in certain cases. But if we have a look more high level picture, it's not about pushing more and more models in shorter and shorter time. And there is only as much innovation as a company can absorb. And it's not just about speeding up the delivery, but also making sure the tools are well understood, they are documented, they are adopted by the business users. And that's something that I see as a tremendous challenge, isn't it, to balance this speed. Today, we are in the era of everything can get generated very quickly, but to make it actually useful and transformative, as you mentioned, that's a completely other discipline. What's your point of view on that?
Yeah, I think the focus shifts from the technical aspect, because the customer and ourselves, we know, okay, the technical is given. We need to own it, we need to know it, we need to do it. And more now focused on the items like change management, yeah, advisory, how can user adoption, that really the customers can also speed up with this sudden quick change of the technology. Yeah, the technology is now clear that it works, and it works faster than historically. And before, historically, we had to prove, okay, the technology can really do it. But I think we all know in the industry that you can do almost everything in Anaplan. So now the question is also, of course, how, but this is not always the first question. The question is more, can the customer adopt to that, and can we help to transform it, especially when it's a larger engagement, or yeah, but also for the smaller ones, it's always a big topic, the change management, user adoption, yeah, understanding and translation between business and technology.
Okay, now back to the margin topic and the expectations of the clients. We briefly touched offshoring as one of the possible solutions that could help improve the margins. You mentioned some of your clients are not in favor of offshoring. So, what's your personal opinion on offshoring? Does this help improve margins, or does it create additional risks?
Mm, I think it's just there, so to speak. So it has pros and cons, and we need to accept it. So, and we need to make the best out of it. So for the margin, I think it's not the big impact, because also the customer is also profiting from that. There needs to be clear transparency on what is done onshore or nearshore or offshore, so we can all benefit from it. But also we need to be careful. It doesn't mean always that the delivery goes much faster, I would assume, but it still can be done in a different way, and we need to adapt it. Therefore, I think it is positive. I think in general, like we can leverage it. but it has to be good for everyone. Yeah.
That makes sense. And from the customers that I see operating on the market, many of them are under tremendous margin pressure. They, of course, want to invest in advanced technology solutions, but they need to balance between, yes, keep the operations going, invest in people, invest in technology. So they are some of them are cautious about investing, and they want
Mhm.
to get the maximum value out of their investment. And
Mhm.
nearshoring is one of the ways that can, in certain cases, improve the project economy. The second option or the expectation is that AI will eventually speed up the delivery, leading to possibly uh, better outcomes within the same budget. Now, where do you see the top two or three use cases where AI is actually bringing benefit or saving cost? And it's happening in 2026 rather than being just announced and being talked about.
Mhm. I think it nowadays helps so far with documentation, for example, very repetitive elements, um, maybe test scripts, things like that, or easy tasks that might just consume time. But the really complex elements, you need human interaction for sure. You need the expertise, you need yeah, intelligence and also communication between stakeholders. There's still a way to go. It is really exciting so far. I see that it will be even more AI in the future. It's already helping now, so it's really quite cool and quite nice times ahead of us. Yeah, but it cannot replace the whole field, the whole project. Yeah.
Absolutely, and yes, starting with a few areas like documentation, test scripts, and as people get more confident in that, then adding a few new. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't know many consultants who are enjoying creating documentation or creating test scripts. So if that helps on the timeline and it keeps consultants less frustrated, then it's already a good achievement.
Exactly.
Jana, we are 30 minutes in our interview. I would like to move to the final part of this
Okay.
podcast, which is the plan or die questions. I will ask you three questions, and
Mhm.
to each of these, you can answer either plan or die. Plan meaning the first option, die meaning the second, and you can add a brief explanation later to each.
Okay.
Right. Starting with question number one, uh,
Mhm.
do you rather close the deal fast or negotiate for margin? Plan or die?
Mm, die. I already said not too much speed. So we need to be,
Yeah,
yeah, it needs to be clear, it needs to be professional. Yeah.
I didn't expect anything else from you, Now, coming in number two, hire ahead of demand or wait for confirmed revenue?
Um, plan. I prefer plan.
Okay, so would you rather hire ahead of the demand than hiring too late?
Yeah, like from the sales perspective, that would be better because then we already have the supply, let's say. But of course, it needs to be in a balance. I mean, yeah, it can't be just a lot. But if I need
All
to
right.
choose, I will choose this.
Okay. And then the last one, say no to a bad client or hope for the best.
Plan. So yeah, better. It depends. I'm not sure what you mean with bad client, but I will not do anything just for a deal and then hope for the best and run away. No, yeah, better to have it.
I mean, a
really
certain degree
normal.
of communication reliability. If somebody doesn't show up 5 times in a row without apology, it can be some sign of future.
Mm. Mhm. Never happened to me. I only have good
Oh,
clients,
you're
professional
lucky. You're,
clients.
you're
Yeah, we are in a professional field, so that 5 times someone didn't appear to a meeting. I hope this doesn't happen. Yeah.
okay, that's good, and I'm happy for you and all your clients. Now, Shanna, thanks
Thanks.
a lot for sharing all these insights and for having this availability to discuss with you. We met half year ago at Connect Berlin, right? Are you
Mhm.
visiting session in Vienna in June? Will you?
Ah. Yeah, I think I'm not sure yet if I'm there or not, to be honest. So
Okay,
could be, but
so me
let's see.
neither. So let's see if we see us. Anyway,
Okay.
thanks a
Yeah,
lot.
let me know.
That was
Thank you.
Panodai. Thank you.
Thanks a lot as well. It was great to catch up. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye bye.